attic was dark and dusty, filled with remnants of a life that once was. Old furniture covered with white sheets, boxes marked with faded ink, and the smell of aged wood permeated the air. Emma had come to clean out her grandmother's house, a task that felt more emotionally exhausting than physical. Among the boxes stacked high in the corner, a small, unmarked wooden chest caught her eye. It was different from the others. Its craftsmanship was intricate, its wood still smooth despite the passage of time. Curiosity sparked as she opened the lid, revealing a small, delicate locket nestled in the soft, worn velvet lining. Her breath caught in her throat as memories rushed back. The locket was a gift given to her many years ago by Liam, her first love. The sight of it brought her back to long summer evenings, laughter under starlit skies, and the warmth of his embrace. She hadn't thought about him in years, not since life had taken them down separate paths. Holding the locket in her hand, she felt a pang of nostalgia, and something more. She had never quite let go, not completely. As her fingers traced the delicate engraving on the locket, Emma made a decision. She had to find him, to see if after all this time the spark between them still lingered. It had been nearly 2 decades since Emma and Liam parted ways, and tracking him down was not an easy task. Days turned into weeks as Emma scoured old social media accounts, searched through online records, and called mutual friends. Finally, after what felt like a lifetime of searching, she found a current address. He hadn't moved far, just a few towns over. The thought that he had always been so close stirred something deep inside her. Nerves bubbled to the surface as she debated whether to reach out. What if he didn't remember her? What if he had moved on and was married, living a completely different life? But something in her heart pushed her forward. The locket had resurfaced for a reason, and she needed to know if there was still something between them. With a deep breath, Emma wrote a letter, a heartfelt, simple message that asked if he remembered her, and if he did, whether they could meet. She mailed it with a mixture of excitement and dread, knowing the answer could change everything. A week passed without a word, and Emma began to doubt her decision. Maybe it was foolish to dig up the past, but just as she was beginning to lose hope, a response came, a simple envelope with her name written in a familiar hand. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The letter was short, but full of warmth and nostalgia. Liam remembered her, remembered everything, and yes, he wanted to meet. He suggested a cafe, the same one where they used to go in their youth. Reading his words, Emma felt a rush of excitement and nervousness. This was really happening. The day of their reunion was crisp, the air filled with the scent of blooming flowers and fresh rain. As Emma approached the cafe, she spotted him. Liam sat at an outdoor table, his gaze down at a cup of coffee. But when he looked up, their eyes met, and time seemed to collapse between them. He stood to greet her, his smile warm and familiar, though there were new lines on his face, etched by time and experience. "Emma," he said softly, his voice the same, but somehow deeper, more mature. She smiled back, feeling the years melt away. They talked for hours, about where life had taken them, the ups and downs, the dreams they had followed, and the ones that had faded. There was no awkwardness, just a quiet understanding between them. As the conversation flowed, the years apart seemed insignificant, as if they had never been separated. At the end of the day, as the sun began to set and cast a golden hue over the cafe, Liam reached across the table and gently took her hand. "I never forgot you," he said, his voice sincere, filled with the weight of all that had been left unsaid. "You were always there, in the back of my mind, a part of me I couldn't shake." Emma looked at him, her heart full, and whispered, "Neither did I." In the days that followed, Emma and Liam found themselves drawn back together, like two magnets that had been pulled apart for too long. They spent time rediscovering each other, laughing at old memories and creating new ones. The past was no longer something to dwell on, but rather a foundation upon which to build something new. One evening, while walking through the park where they had shared so many moments in their youth, Liam stopped and pulled something from his pocket. It was the matching locket to Emma's. He had kept it all these years, a keepsake of their love that he too had never let go of. He placed it gently in her hand. "I've carried this with me always," he said softly. "It's been a reminder of what I once had and lost. But now I want it to be a reminder of what we've found again." Tears filled Emma's eyes as she looked at the two lockets side by side. The symbolism wasn't lost on her. They had both held on to their love in different ways, and now they had been given a second chance. Months passed, and Emma and Liam's rekindled romance blossomed into something stronger than it had ever been before. They had both grown, matured, and learned from their time apart. But what they had now wasn't just a revival of their past. It was something entirely new, built on shared history and a deep understanding of who they had become. One evening, while sitting on the porch of Emma's home, overlooking the sunset, Liam turned to her, his expression serious but filled with love. "I don't want to let you go again," he said, his voice steady, his eyes locking with hers. "Not this time. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Emma's heart swelled, and without hesitation she nodded. "I don't want to let go either." As they embraced, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in a soft golden glow. They knew that the keepsake had led them back to each other for a reason. It had been a symbol of the love they had shared and lost, but now it was a testament to the love they had found again, stronger, deeper, and unbreakable. The keepsake had brought them full circle, leading them not just back to each other, but to a future they were ready to face together. Years later, Emma sat by the window, looking out at the world she and Liam had built together. The two lockets, once lost to time, now hung side by side on a chain around her neck. They were no longer just reminders of the past. They were symbols of the love that had endured despite everything. As Liam walked into the room, his smile as warm as ever, Emma knew that sometimes love wasn't lost. It was simply waiting to be found again. And when it was more beautiful than they ever could have imagined.